What's going on? Welcome back to the Wedding Swap podcast, and I say welcome back because it has been, 2 years?
Way too long.
Before COVID was our last episode. I'm Ed from Events Done Right. We got Courtney with Mason and Magnolia Events and Johnny Torres with LiveWeddings.net. We are here at the beautiful, you can see it behind us, we are here at the Wedding Retreat here in Plant City. This is a gorgeous venue. My first personal time being on property, and I walked in, I was like, wow. And we're going to get to that here in just a second. Actually, we're going to be bringing on Kayla and Alexa, and they will be discussing everything about how the Wedding Retreat can fit all your wedding venue needs. But in the meantime, before we bring them on, we need to talk about us because it has been a minute. So how are you guys doing?
Doing good, staying busy.
Well, you would have thought COVID almost took out this podcast. You know? I mean, it's been that long. Well, because everything shut down.
Sure.
And then of course it was like, okay, well, when are we going to be able to restart and get our businesses back up and running? And then it's been the focus of actually rebuilding the industry, rebuilding the business.
Right.
And I think for most of us, we've actually been really fortunate where we're doing better off now than we were pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Which is it's something very unexpected. But fortunately here in Florida, we've been open for business since May of 2000.
Right. One of the few states, actually. Yep.
Yeah. And so it's exciting to be able to get the podcast back off the ground, now that things are, kind of back to normal as much as that can be nowadays. But
the new norm.
That's right. But it's fun to be back.
Well, if you were able to slide into our DMs right here, you'd be able to see we've been talking about this for I can't even tell you how long. So it is good to be back and see you guys and be able to do this. And like I said, we're here at the Wedding Retreat in Plant City. But speaking of COVID, it's funny you say that because we saw, I feel, when COVID first came, a lot of companies, a lot of different vendors, whether it be DJs, caterers, hair and makeup, a lot of companies actually kind of folded. COVID really, and that's not just even the wedding industry, that's just, business as a whole across the whole entire country. Mm-hmm. But we did see a lot of different wedding vendors that folded. And Johnny, I'm gonna toss it to you real quick because you put it perfectly before we were setting all the cameras up and everything like that. But now you're seeing it come back almost like tenfold with wedding vendors.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing because, of course, when the government says lockdown, and all of a sudden you go from doing 100 or 200 events a month to zero. That's jarring. That's shocking, and a lot of people weren't able to survive that. And I think much like in those people who have corporate jobs, unlike us,
right?
They started to reassess. Well, is this a business that I want to continue to stay involved in? Or maybe should I go back to corporate America, or should I? And so I think there was a lot of assessment done. Unfortunately, some of the other vendors in our industry just had to close up shop. They didn't have the reserves. They didn't have the ability to stay open, or to carry the business through the downturn, even as short as it was here in Florida. But again, as we've seen, the COVID it created this vacuum where everything stopped, and then I think it made a lot of people reassess. We've seen so many people move into the area,
sure,
and we've also seen people leave the area, and so it's been this huge reshuffle of the industry, and now we're starting to see a lot of new vendors pop up. But fortunately, again, some of the great venues like the Wedding Retreat, are still around doing amazing work. And for those of us that were able to make it through the pandemic, we've been able to even step in emergency situations for a lot of brides because their vendors have just disappeared.
Right.
Yes, I see that daily.
I was going to say, and I'm going to toss it to Courtney. So not only Courtney runs Mason and Magnolia Events, but she is also the queen bee of the hive of Tampa Wedding Swap. We know there's over 30,000 brides on Tampa Wedding Swap. Well, you're looking at the lady who runs it right here. So Courtney, more so than anybody in the world, can probably give you that firsthand. You might not see it pop up on your feed because sometimes she has to stop the post from going. But how often are you seeing nowadays where you're getting these last minute, it's the day of a bride's wedding and hey, my hair and makeup just canceled and things like that. You're seeing that a lot.
If not daily, weekly. Lots of posts come through, lots of last minute, my hair and makeup artist canceled, photographer canceled, something like that. It's been kind of terrible actually for some brides, losing out on money. things like that. So we see it a lot. Make sure you get contracts, make sure your vendors are licensed, insured, take a look at their track record. New vendors are popping up every single day. Lots of people are leaving their corporate jobs and wanting to start their own business. So it's not to say they aren't any good. We got a lot of new ones, and some of the old ones have even left. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we've said that. I mean, even before COVID, we always say, definitely vet through your vendors. Look at their past history. How long have they been around? Reviews, recommendations, you know what I mean? Don't just go off of a couple of things, because if it is just somebody new, I'll tell you first, when you're first starting a business, you reach out to a family member or a friend, hey, can you go and leave a review and this and that? Yeah. This is, if you opened up, a candy store on the corner or something like that, maybe that would be, beneficial to you, but
Right.
somebody's wedding, the biggest day of their life, is something you really have to make sure you're going through those reviews, going through that process, interviewing them, and talking around and making sure that you're putting these people in charge, because when the day of your wedding happens, you only get one shot to do it,
That's right.
You definitely want it, no pun intended. I know Vincent writes here, but you definitely want to do it right, so.
Well, and one of the things to keep in mind, and I'll say this honestly, as a relatively new business in the wedding industry, we do live streaming for weddings. It's at liveweddings.net. But we're far better today, 2.5 years later, than we were 2 years ago. And so, again, not to knock vendors that are just coming onto the scene, it doesn't mean that they're not any good, but there's going to be some learning curves.
Somebody's, you got to start somewhere. Right. Everybody's got to start somewhere. So,
and you also got to make sure that that's also relative to what you're paying. A lot of people don't understand also, because but weddings can get very expensive very quickly, and so you have to prioritize what are you willing to pay for, because more often than not you are going to get what you pay for.
Awesome. And we just want to touch on one other thing, because we do have Kayla and Alexa. They're standing by and ready to come on and talk to us about the wedding retreat. But before we do that, we do want to also remind everybody, I know Florida weddings can be gorgeous. We all know that. We've done them. We've seen them. Absolutely. The sun setting, beautiful. But I would suggest you, Courtney, back me up on this, have a backup plan, because we are getting into that rainy season.
It will rain on your wedding. It will.
Oh, well, now, Courtney, come on, Courtney. I got to go to
beach weddings. Bring your sunscreen. If you're out in the country, bring your bug spray.
Yeah.
Wear big hats. Things like that to avoid our nature here.
Yeah, definitely just check with your venues, check with your coordinators, your planners, see what a backup plan is, because, just in the sheer chance of something do happening. And it's sometimes a lot of people do check on those things, but it's one of those things that in the midst of all your planning and getting all your ducks in a row and inviting guests and invitations and everything you could possibly think of as associated with a wedding, it's one of those things that could go to the back of your mind and be like, oh my gosh. And then, it's a week before your wedding and you're scrambling around trying to find a backup plan. So with the rainy season on the way, just make sure that you do have a backup plan, especially for your ceremony.
Fortunately, I would say the better planners and the better venues are going to help you through that process.
Yes.
Sure.
And they're going to think of these things because they've been there and done that. But certainly don't wait around for them to have that backup plan. Make sure that you have something laid out, in case of rain, in case of any, even, hey, another pandemic,
Right.
I mean, what's plan B, if this happens, and I had a wedding call me a week ago because they were worried. They were looking at the forecast 4 or 5 days out, and they thought it was going to rain on their day. Luckily, when it came to the day before, they were in the clear. They weren't, and so we were all good there. But they were at least fortunate enough in thinking to have me on standby, which I'm happy to do in situations like that. And fortunately for them, they didn't need me, But again, they realized that half of their wedding party wasn't going to be able to attend because of the rain,
right?
Because they were at an outdoor venue, and so having a backup like live streaming, whether it's a pandemic or whether it's just a rainstorm, can be a good solution. And so you got to always be thinking, 5 steps ahead.
Sure. And just like you said when you first started talking, you said, you're the good venues, the good coordinators.
Yes,
definitely.
We always have a rainy
They're going to make sure they have
plan.
those plans. So there you go. It goes right back to what we just said. Make sure you're doing your due diligence and making sure you have the correct vendors lined up for your big day. All right, as promised, we are here at the wedding retreat in Plant City, and we are here now with Kayla and Alexa, and the hair and makeup staff has left, so they are good to go. Our ladies are good to go, be on camera. We also have Courtney here from Mason and Magnolia Events. And how long have you guys been with the wedding retreat?
I've been with them for 3 years.
Okay.
I've been with them for 2 years.
3 and 2 years. And how long has the Wedding Retreat been here in service?
It's going on 5.
5 years. So you guys have almost been here since the jump. So I got to tell you, I first walked up, never been here before, and one of the first things I said to you was like, man, this thing is beautiful. And I know we're going to show you a whole bunch of footage here from the table decorating to a greenery, but the biggest thing that popped out was the greenery. And Courtney, Courtney, go ahead. Spill it, Courtney.
Oh my gosh, the greenery from the ceilings, the flowers, everything. I wouldn't change anything.
Awesome. So now when you guys already have this beautifully decorated, so if you guys have somebody that comes in, if they want to do any kind of alterations or changing anything like that, is that something that you guys offer, or like this is what we offer?
This is what we offer.
Okay.
It comes as is, yeah.
Cool. And then what would you say is maybe one of the biggest highlights of this venue that you think people really, besides the greenery, is it the grounds, is it the ceremony area?
The view for sure.
The view.
The view, the outdoor venue. Like, I mean, I feel like people would just come and get this venue just for the outdoor feel for
Awesome.
it. Like, just the countryside, you know,
I
the
think
trees,
the trees
wind.
is one of the biggest.
Yeah,
The trees is one of the
sure.
biggest selling points.
They're beautiful.
It is a beautiful property. Now, if people do want to come and see the property, you guys are offering venue tours. I'm telling you, this thing is like busier than a twisty treat back here. How many people are walking in and out of this thing? Venue tours, what's the best way to do it? Is it through your website, or would you prefer them to call? And how long does usually a venue tour take?
They can call or email. It doesn't take very long at all, about 30 minutes. And then we do them on Mondays and Wednesdays from 8 to 6.
Okay. And do you guys have still availability left for the rest of 2022 on the weekends, or what's your availability looking like for the calendar?
Ooh, 2022 is a little booked. But sometimes people do cancel, you know, based on whatever reason you may have. So always check every day, like new inquiries could always happen. And then 2023, we still do have some spots.
But
open.
2022 are pretty much booked.
Yeah, 2022. I think we still have, October 2nd?
Yeah, October
October
2nd.
2nd. October 2nd, if anybody wants it.
There you go. Snatch that thing, because it's going to be gone in a heartbeat.
It's gonna go like a hot
That's
cake.
literally the only one we have
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
That's the only one.
The only
For
one.
2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. It's a race right now. As soon as people see this video, they're going to be hopping online trying to capture that date.
October 2nd.
Now, I noticed you guys, your ceremony venue is outside, and we did discuss before we brought you guys in about the backup plan. So the backup plan, if it doesn't, because it is a beautiful ceremony area, but just in case if it doesn't rain, if you could explain to maybe brides how it works if bad weather were to happen that day.
We try to watch it until the last possible second for the rain to try to make sure we get you out there. But worst case scenario, we do it underneath the barn. We kind of rearrange the tables and make it happen to do it underneath here.
Awesome. And then on top of having an awesome venue staff here, we do have Kayla and Alexa, who are ready to become YouTube stars. They were telling me earlier before they're ready to shine, they're ready to do their thing. So if you want to come out here, if you want to bring Johnny from liveweddings.net, you do some live streaming out here. Make sure Kayla and Alexa are put on cameras because that was very important to them. But they'll also handle your wedding day as well. Courtney, any questions for the two ladies?
Not that I can think of. You pretty much handled everything. They covered their rainy day plan. It is all inclusive, right? So
Yes.
bartenders, cakes, y'all provide pretty much everything I was reading on the website. So
yep, it's
what
all
all does a
inclusive.
bride have to bring?
The only thing a bride is responsible for is an officiant, and then there's a wedding day insurance they have to purchase. But other than that, everything is done in-house. Everybody here is trained to do everything. So I think that's the best way to go about doing a wedding venue, is because if I heard you talking earlier about vendors canceling last minute, and we
Yes.
see that all the time on Tampa Wedding Swap. But in the worst case, if a vendor, something happens that morning, we have
You have a
another
team and then a
Yeah, we're
backup
literally
team, and
all
you work with them all
yeah,
the
we're all
time.
trained, so everybody could jump on pictures. You could jump on anything, and you always have that backup, so your day will still run smoothly.
That is amazing.
Look at that.
Good to know.
I told you they got it covered. I wasn't slipping when I pulled up. I was like, okay, they got this thing handled. So
These ladies are talented.
yes, they very much know what they're doing, and they're good on video. So look at that. You get a bonus treat, all right? So once again, if you want to check them out, if you want to give them the contact details right now for your venue,
www.theweddingretreatandevents.com. Best form of communication is through email.
there you go.
So-
And you check them out on social media, also Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. We have TikTok too.
Yeah.
Yep. They do have TikTok.
We're working on that one.
So I told you, video stars here in the making, and
trying to get our YouTube channel going. So it's our next step.
Stay tuned, right?
Stay tuned.
so this is awesome right here. Like they just told you, you basically, ladies, guys, you just have to show up. You get to walk down the aisle, and then you get to dance your shoes off the rest of the night, and they take care of everything else. So it's an absolutely extraordinary venue. Come check it out. It's the Wedding Retreat in Plant City. Kayla, Alexa, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, your busy day between all these tours and dancing and everything else you're doing behind the scenes. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to be here today, all right?
Yes, ladies.
And wish you the best of luck with your venue. As for the Wedding Swap podcast, for myself, Ed from Events Done Right, Courtney from Mason and Magnolia Events, and of course, Johnny, who's right now running the cameras right now for liveweddings.net. We do want to thank you for allowing us to be a part of your afternoon or evening or whenever you're watching this. And again, live from the Wedding Retreat in Plant City, we say sayonara.
Bye.